Blake needs to put out a website. She needs to fight back in the public because right now it looks so bad for her. Okay, like she needs to amp it up. If she just wants to fight out in the court of just regular court, not the court of public opinion. Yeah, she's going to have her reputation horribly ruined. And I would hate to say that because I feel like everyone can always make a comeback. But seriously, Blake and her PR team, they need to do their own website. Justin Baldoni's response to Blake Lively's complaint and lawsuit, well, it makes her look so bad. Now, if you guys want to watch the original, like me covering the entire timeline and me reading it to you guys, go watch the live streams. I think in total, one was like 4 hours, one was like 3 hours long. It is very long. So if you guys want to sit back, listen, you got a long drive ahead of you, or you got lots of laundry to focus, it's laundry day, listen to a long live stream. However, today we're just going to do a shorter version for you guys. And I do have chapters down below. If you guys want to jump around, feel free. Justin Baldoni reaches out to Ryan Reynolds, and this is the only screenshot of Ryan Reynolds' text message that we are going to be getting. I don't know if we're going to get more in the future. Maybe, perhaps, or maybe this was their only communication that they had between the two of them. Now, between these text messages, Justin is reaching out because it seems like Blake Lively reached out to Justin's wife, Emily, and wrote this like really long, sweet message. So Justin Baldoni also wanted to reciprocate and do the same thing. So he asked Blake Lively for Ryan Reynolds' number. And so in Justin's message, it's kind of just like your typical, hey, like I'm Justin. I just want to introduce myself. Blake did a nice thing reaching out to my wife. I want to do the same thing. And it's just like a lot of like bromance happening here, right? However, with Ryan Reynolds' message, we are getting some more information basically about him boasting up his wife and how she contributes more than just being an actress when she's working on projects, I guess. And then at the very end, we have an ask from Ryan Reynolds where he's essentially asking Justin Baldoni for a favor. And it seems like a pretty big favor. So I'll start with a little bit of Justin Baldoni and then get into reading the whole thing of Ryan Reynolds' message. Justin Baldoni. Hey Ryan, Justin Baldoni here is the guy who brought this literal baggage to his meeting with your wife. I asked Blake for your phone number well over a month ago and have wanted to text you for a while now, but my gut of nerves got to the best of me. Emily and I have a very small circle. We live out in the country in Ojai and pretty much just hang out with each other. We've known all of our closest friends for years, and I don't really have any close female friends that my wife isn't also friends with, let alone married ones. And so I guess this is just an awkward text to say, I like to be friends. I'm happy there's no check yes or no box. And it seems like a nice message. Ryan Reynolds is going to reply back. And you guys, I have chapters down below. So you guys want to skip around, jump around, feel free. We're just going to cover some of the major timelines here. And some of these messages are really long. And I think this is going to be the only long message that I'm going to be reading out of this entire video. So Ryan Reynolds writes back, hey, Justin, sorry for the delay. I've been in a writing cave and the girls are sick, ... again. I'm told they have an immune system, but it's in beta testing. What a lovely and generous message. Thank you. We're both looking forward to getting to know you and your family better. We're also big fans over here since before we met and more so after. You've been a wonderful collaborator with B, and that means a great deal to the both of us. Being a stand-up person is everything, and you've been just that since day one. You've hit the jackpot with B. She literally passes on every film and every filmmaker all the time. But one thing I know, and I speak from a deep wellspring of experience here, having her in your court behind the scenes as a creative is invaluable. I'm certain Redacted would say the same. So interesting because I feel like Ryan Reynolds and both Blake Lively, they continue reminding Justin Baldoni, you're so lucky to have Blake. Oh my God, she's such a creative mind. You're so lucky to have me. You're so lucky to have me in your courts. And then you're going to benefit from it with my dragons. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's cute that Ryan Reynolds is really supportive of his wife. And I guess it's good that Blake is like so confident, but it's like her and Ryan are trying so hard to prime Justin into believing that, hey, Blake Lively being on this project, like she's going to be a multi dimensional asset to this project. She has way more to offer than just being an actress. It's as if they're trying so hard to really drill in his brain that, hey, you should really have an open mind for Blake Lively contributing more to this film rather than just being an actress. Because Blake Lively will talk about it again later on in the text messages where she's like, yeah, like I can do this, I can do that. Like I do the writing for this. I help Ryan, like I help Taylor. Like, oh my gosh, like for me, I personally get annoyed when someone boasts so much about themselves and just like really like, I mean, it's great to have confident people, but when someone's telling you over and over again how great they are at this and this and this and how, like they haven't had anything to show for it yet, I'd rather just have your actions speak for it than you telling me over and over again. Okay, 1 or 2 times, cool. But like, you just keep telling me. I'm like, can you just shut up, please? And that would explain the rooftop scene where Blake Lively wanted to take she wanted to try to write the rooftop scene. And so when Justin Baldoni went over to the penthouse, he was met with Ryan Reynolds basically praising Blake Lively's writing. And then later on, it seemed like it was also Taylor Swift that was praising Blake Lively's writing as well. And then Justin writes a message to Blake Lively saying, hey, I thought the rooftop scene was great. I didn't need your people to tell me over and over again how great it was. Like, I don't need people to convince me. Some of the greatest creative decisions I made are, in fact, Blake. The same goes for Redacted. The acting is a small piece of a pretty astounding patchwork quilt of creativity. More than anything, I rely on her taste. Far beyond movies, I really rely on her taste for all aspects of my businesses. And that multi-dimensional creative output is something I can see in both of you. I'm excited for you to work together. I'm excited for Blake to crack open her creative piggy bank with someone as dynamic as you. This is going to be incredible. So I don't know if Blake has ever been credited as a producer on a film before. I know that she did mention how she directed one of Taylor Swift's music videos, but yeah, I don't know if she's had a producer credit. I don't think so, because there's an article that I read that's made it seem like it ends with it was her first producer credit that she got. So it's possible that Ryan could just really see what an enormous, asset Blake Lively is, and he wants to make sure Justin knows it as well. He writes something about this is going to be incredible. And thank you for understanding what it means to me personally to have my family reunited as soon as possible. Nothing means more to her either. I can promise you our hard work for keeping our family together is how to win us and also how to kill us when we can't. We never split up. Ever. It was a huge thing for us in the film. I tried to push our start date, but Marvel Book Studios last July and Redacted filming was locked. I've been frantically, where are we at now? Smashing out my third pass of the script, 10 addresses, to address structural changes, but it's mostly to get our budget down and shorten the shoot so I can fly back with the girls when the school starts. We see and appreciate that you already moved significantly to make it work with her schedule because of the film she's already committed to, which thankfully she was able to gracefully punt. She tried before, but didn't share how hard. All this to say, I have your line producer's face tattooed to my perineum if she can figure out how to start 2 weeks earlier. It's like, let me love bomb you with all these compliments and stuff like that. But at the same time, let me give you a whole paragraph about how amazing my wife is and how you should really, really, really take her input. And then not only that, here's like another big ask. I know you've already accommodated her, but here's another big ask and here's another favor. Could you please accommodate again? Anyways, so they want to push out 2 weeks later for the filming stuff. Completely understand how big of an ask that is. Of course, he knows because he's in the movie industry as well. But the perineum is one of the most nervy parts of the human body to expose to trauma. So, ... Looking forward to seeing you, and thank you again for all that you're doing. I happen to adore you, Justin. Okay, so I think this is a perfect way to segue to the rooftop scene because I think it shows what Justin Baldoni was possibly being pressured with during this time. So with the rooftop scene, now, if you guys didn't read the book or watch the movie, okay? Because I think the movie's kind of interesting. Because can you imagine what sort of great acting that is if two people sort of hate each other, but then they were able to show that amount of like romance towards each other? I don't know. I just thought it was interesting, especially a lot of the more spicier scenes, like the sexy, spicier ones, were shot after a lot of the drama went down. Yeah, when he was given the that 14-point thing, and then he was berated by Ryan Reynolds, and then afterwards it's like, okay, well, I have to film some scenes where I'm making out with your wife. Awkward. The rooftop scene was pivotal in the book, and they wanted to make sure they were able to capture that same essence in the movie. Now, in the movie, in my opinion, I think the rooftop scene was like way too freaking long. I was like, okay, is it about to end soon? I don't know. It's just me. But that's where the main character, Lily Bloom, meets the guy, the romance, the sort of, well, I guess not love of her life because she got another love of her life, but where she meets Ryle Kincaid. And Blake Lively asks if she can take a pass at writing that scene, this very, very important scene. And so she writes this: you okay if I play around with some of the dialogue to give her a bit more agency and fun and send it to you? It affects some of your lines too if I switch out some of hers, but anyway, we can amp up their verbal ping pong volley. I think we'll be cooking with gas, right? Reel that audience in and make them feel desperately in love with these two. That's when the other shoe drops. Ouch. The audience will be devastated. We can use some, all, or none of it. I just don't want to step on any toes. That to me seems a pretty respectful message because, she's like, hey, could I I know I'm asking for a huge favor by wanting to write on a giant big scene that's important, But, you know, you don't have to use any of it. You can use some of it or you can use none of it. I just don't want to step in any toes. And so, you know, Justin Baldoni, I think just being a nice guy, writes, fuck yes. He is ecstatic, okay? He's got like the energy that he is feeding back to Blake Lively. I can see why she decides to take more on in the movie because she's like, oh, this director, he is down to let me like do more for this film than just being an actress. And you know what? I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna do it. And then she says, I can send you a pass to the roof or just read when you get it together next week. Let me know what you prefer. If you knew me in person longer, you'd have a sense of how flirty and yummy the ball busting would play. It's my love language. Spicy and playfully bold, never with teeth, and him serving it back to her just as important. You don't usually see both men and women with such agency and humor. So she thinks. And so Justin Baldoni was like, yeah, send, please. You know, it's so important to the film. I can't wait to play and find it. I agree so much. Lily needs to be strong and witty and playful and bold. Justin Baldoni, when he is invited over to Blake Lively's penthouse, he's met with Ryan Reynolds basically saying, oh my God, like Blake did such a good job writing the rooftop scene. And then apparently later on, maybe Taylor Swift came over and also said, yeah, like she did such a good job with the rooftop scene. It seems like Justin Baldoni writes a message to Blake Lively, essentially saying that, hey, like, you know, I knew the rooftop scene was good and you didn't really need to have your people tell me that, you know, because maybe he felt weird about it. Maybe he felt like they were trying to pressure him. Blake writes this long text message to Justin Baldoni, basically her sob story about how she's been far looked over into so many parts of the, you know, in her past before, where she would write scripts and she wouldn't be credited for it and then blah, blah, blah. And how they just wanted to hire her as like a yes man, as an actor, but then she wanted to do more and she wanted to contribute more. I think Justin Baldoni like feels really bad. Like he feels really bad. He writes his like whole message back to her and then he leaves her the infamous like long 12-minute voice message or something like that. And we're only like a month in before production is supposed to happen. And it seems like, you know, there's a producer in the group chat who already has concerns with Justin Baldoni letting Blake Lively have opinions on everything they say. So I don't know if Blake Lively was like, you know what, I'm gonna just rewrite like a bunch of other scenes. And then people were like, yo, what the fuck is going on here? Justin, what are you doing? And then Justin's like, well, she made me feel bad a couple weeks ago. What can I do now? What can I say? Intimacy coordinator. Now in Blake Lively's complaint, she alleged that Justin Baldoni was trying to add more creeper shit into the movie. Scenes that were too gratuitous, scenes that were, I think she didn't want it to be like pornographic or something. I essentially accusing Justin being creepy and then possibly alluding to him using the movie as a way to get away with his creepy antics and have some gratuitous sex scenes filmed between him and Blake Lively and maybe even the young ones. That's the sentiment that I got from reading her complaint. But anyways, Justin Baldoni was like, well, I hired an intimate coordinator before and you didn't want to meet with her and here's all the meeting notes that I had. Like, yeah, there was some stuff with like, you know, there was some clip play, there was some orgasm, there was some, you know, going down each other and other stuff like that. So these are not just my ideas. These are ideas that also came from the intimacy coordinator. Had you met with them, maybe you would have known. I don't know. I don't know if he didn't show these notes to Blake Lively or if Blake Lively just assumed that these were his own notes, not with intimacy coordinator. I don't know. At this point, I think we're like less than a month in from the last time Ryan Reynolds and Justin Baldoni were texting each other. When were they texting each other? Like I think like the end of February or beginning of March or something like that. But Justin is invited over to the Lively Reynolds penthouse and then he gets berated by Ryan Reynolds for fat shaming Blake Lively by saying, how dare you fucking ask about my wife's weight? What's wrong with you? And apparently Baldoni says the tone was like super aggressive and he had no choice but to like offer repeated apologies. And that is because Justin Baldoni said, well, his perspective was that he reached out to his trainer that was introduced by Blake Lively over how much does Blake Lively weigh, because there's like a scene where I have to like lift her up and then I want to make sure my back is going to be good. However, this trainer, for some reason, related back to Blake Lively. Now, maybe they related back to Blake Lively because maybe Justin Baldoni said more than what he is confessing to. Maybe Justin was offensive. I don't fucking know. But anyways, this trainer apparently has made an Instagram post, which maybe we'll cover in a different video. But they made an Instagram post essentially, I think, trying to say that they were never Justin Baldoni's trainer and they only sent like these like workout stuff to him and they never actually met face to face because Justin's schedule didn't work out. But, you know, I think what's kind of important for Justin Baldoni was Blake Lively said that there was no such scene that existed. There's no scene where he would pick up Blake Lively. However, in the script here, unless it's fake or something like that, in the script it says that Ryle scoops her up. And the only reason why it's not in the scene anymore is because Ryan Reynolds demanded it be taken out. But in Blake Lively's complaint, they said There was no such scene that existed. But it seems like the two of them still had a good relationship because 2 days afterwards, Blake Lively offers to have Justin Baldoni fly back with her and her kids in their, I guess, like maybe private jet. That way Justin can go and see his family. I wonder, did Blake Lively feel bad for going after Justin Baldoni, or was Justin Baldoni just being exaggerative of how he was confronted by Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and maybe it wasn't that big of a deal? Blake just offered to fly me to LA with him tomorrow at 2 p.m. so we can get 6 hours of work on the script and then fly back Sunday and get another 6. There is a respect in the workplace meeting via Zoom on Friday, May 5th, again before they were set to film. And I think the reason why they're showing this in their document is because, well, when we first read Blake Lively's complaint, they made it seem like Wayfarer Productions didn't know what the fuck they were doing, okay? There was like no sort of professionality on the set, whatever. There was no sort of like, everything was just going on. It was crazy. It was wild. It was like not a safe, contained environment at all. Like anything HR related, out the window. This email I think looked good too. From Justin Baldoni to the intimacy coordinator and to Jamie Heath. And in this email, it seems like Justin Baldoni is like trying to be really considerate with Blake Lively. In regards to some of the scenes that they were going to be filming together. So there was like some sex scenes together and he wanted to make sure that she was comfortable and that whatever close-ups they do or whatever angle they do, that she's going to be comfortable with doing it. And then like if he wants to do this, like he has to double check with her. So it just really seems like he did prioritize her comfortability, or it could just be like, you know, he pretended to be, I guess, in the emails, and then when it came to actually filming it, maybe he was a creepo. Filming finally starts, but guess what happens? People were able to get pictures of Blake Lively and they're like, what is up with her outfit? And I was looking through this Instagram that also was like, it ends with us fan page, and the comments were, you know, same thing. I was like, what's up with this outfit? It's like, what is she wearing? Is she okay? And so Justin Baldoni, you know, he wants to go speak to Blake Lively, but he's like, he tells Jamie Heath that he's seeing her in 10. Send me prayers. I'm fucking terrified of saying the wrong thing. Talk after. Yep, doesn't want to offend Blake Lively. Now, in Blake's complaint, remember, it seems like she had an issue with Justin Baldoni improvising things on the go, especially with like some of the kissing scenes, the intimate scenes. Justin Baldoni was like, well, Blake Lively was also improvising as well. And this is what he writes. Lively pulls Baldoni in to kiss her. It's clear Lively was initiating the kiss. In one take, she pulls Baldoni in, kisses him once and another twice. Lively determined the number of kisses based on what she felt was necessary for the scene. Though Lively improvised a number of kisses in the scene, make no mistake, the kiss itself was written in the script and was no way improvised. Contrary to her complaint, there was no inappropriate improvised kissing on set. Any improvisation was made by Lively herself, and this is the script right here. Lily, she stops herself, realizing, and bends down, kissing his face all over. So I think like her, like, I don't know, like there's no specification on like how many kisses all over was happening. So like, I think it's okay to just in a different take, just do like 1 or 2 or 3, depending on what feels right for that scene. I think there's a difference between that and then being accused of biting someone's bottom lip and then like suckling on it or something like that. Which, by the way, I think Justin Baldoni will address it coming up soon because he said that didn't happen. We got footage of it. Are these called call sheets? I don't know what they're called, but basically it's like the schedule for what's going to happen for the rest of the day for shooting. And remember how Blake Lively said there's a scene where she was giving birth and it was a mess. It was enclosed. People had their cell phones out. And it just seems like Wayfarer Productions had no idea what the fuck they were doing. However, when we look at this, it says closed set, no visitors on set without prior approval, no personal cameras on set, no forced calls. So it seems like a professional production company to me. However, it is possible that maybe they just didn't practice it. Shooting day 7, Baldoni, during a scene in which the cast is wearing loose-fitting onesies, attempts to give Lively directorial feedback regarding wardrobe and encourages her to remove her coat to reveal her onesie to match the rest of the cast, who was also dressed in onesies. In Lively's complaint, she alleged that Baldoni used the word sexy in a tone that made her feel ogled and exposed. However, Baldoni, the director, noted that look would be sexy, referencing the wardrobe for the scene and not Lively personally. Lively had previously mentioned verbally in a text that she wanted her wardrobe to be sexy. Her statements were immediately followed by a gesture indicating, or his statement was immediately followed by the gesture indicating that Lively had something in her teeth and a request for someone to get her a toothpick. This exchange, all of which was captured on camera, was bookended by Baldoni's immediate recognition that Lively appeared offended. Baldoni offered multiple apologies to Lively moments later, despite the fact that he was merely doing his job. I'm wondering, is Blake Lively the type of person who just gets offended really easily? Or is it Justin Baldoni? But it's interesting that Blake Lively calls herself like a ball buster. I wonder if she's the type of person who likes to dish it but doesn't also like to take it. Later that day, during the action sequence, Lively and Baldoni's characters would kiss, which is all caught on camera. Lively's complaint later accused Baldoni of discreetly biting and sucking on Miss Lively's lower lip during a scene in which he improvised numerous kisses on each take. As shown in the below script, the kissing was not improvised. Well, maybe they just meant like the way he kissed was improvised. That's probably what Blake Lively meant. However, what's interesting is that since Blake Lively seems to maybe either misremembered or fudged her timeline, whether it was like, I don't know, I don't think it's on purpose. I think she genuinely just doing it from recall memory, and she doesn't have access to the dailies because, man, if it's only Justin that has access to the dailies, she better hurry and get her attorney to get access to those dailies too. Oh, man. Like being shown the birthing scene happens, and then the romance montage, the one that we got to watch on YouTube, happens as well. Now, at this point, COVID happens, and Blake Lively was sick and out for a couple of days. Now, during this time, it seems like Justin Baldoni is saying that she had taken this time to really marinate on her thoughts and what seemed to be innocuous interactions between her and other people. It seems like she had reached out to Sony executive and complained about the behaviors that were happening on set. It was a sexy comment with the onesie. It was the birth video. And then what else was there? Oh, her having grievances with the first AD suggested that she be replaced. Oh, I wish I knew more about this. Why did she have an issue with the first AD? So Justin Baldoni writes a text message to Blake Lively. No, actually doesn't send it to her. Okay. He decides to draft it, but then I think he asked someone else to pass it along. Because I think at this point, he's like, I don't want to have direct contact with her, man. I don't know how she's going to spin things. He writes, Blake, I really hope that redacted is okay and your symptoms are getting better. I'm so sorry you're going through this. I want you to know that I've been made aware of your concerns and I hear you. They are fully received and adjustments will be made imminently. Also, the dailies are looking wonderful, and while the 2 days were tough, I assure you that your work was fantastic. I truly believe you are creating one of the most honest performances that will have a long-lasting and powerful impact. Look forward to working with you when you feel better, Justin. However, she returns and she requests a meeting with Justin Baldoni, the producers, where she basically will verbally air out all the issues that she had, again, just to make sure that, hey, you guys hear me on this. Now, because she reported to Sony and then because she holds this meeting, I do think that to Blake Lively, she does believe that the stuff that she was dealing on the set was real. It wasn't something that the whole Amber Heard thing where you just completely just made shit up out of thin air. However, what's interesting is that Justin Baldoni's team said that there were more serious issues that Blake Lively later on mentioned in her formal complaint that were not mentioned during their face-to-face meeting here or the meeting, I guess, with Sony. So were those made up to bolster her issues, or did she just not say it, I guess? We're nearing very close to where production is going to be shut down because of the strike, but I think it's important to see what the relationship is kind of like with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni up at this point, despite all the drama that's happening on the set so far. Here's a text message from Justin Baldoni where he's like, I just want to say thank you for giving 110% this week. I know how hard it must be to shooting and also have your partner gone and feeling exhausted. Blake writes back, thanks so much for this text. I appreciate your empathy and I give it in return. You're in the same boat. I always try to give my all and then half again more. You do too, and I appreciate it. X. So we're still getting some friendly text messages, and it's kind of interesting that Ryan Reynolds is not there. I wonder if Blake Lively was giving updates to Ryan Reynolds as things were happening. Do they regroup every night? Or did she not want to tell him what was happening on the set because he was shooting Deadpool and then she just didn't want to disturb him possibly? Because, once the strike happens and they go on this break, it seems like things were kind of still okay between Blake and Justin. Blake is asking for access to the dailies, although I don't know if she's just trying to be nice to him so he can do what she wanted. But it seems like things are fine between two of them. They're cordial. And then when they go through this really long break, when it comes back to it, it's like, oh, by the way, I'm not coming back to work because here are the 14 things that I think are really creepy. Well, not 14 things, but here are the 14 things that I had issues with. And a lot of them had to do with you being a creep. So I don't know if I wonder if during this long break, one, she had time to marinate on it, just like during the COVID when she was sick for 4 or 5 days. If she had time to marinate on it and she was like, actually, you know what? It wasn't okay with what I had to deal with. Or if she was talking about it with her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and Reynolds was like, what the fuck? Like, why did you tell me this was happening? Like, this is a lot more serious than you really are, saying that it is. Or she was like talking to like girlfriends, her friends, and they were basically telling her that, this is actually horrible. And then maybe in her mind, she was like, oh shit, like, yeah, maybe it was really fucking bad. So I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but during the break, the cast members, they do interviews and they talk about how it's been with working with Justin. And here's what Alex Newstead said. I love his energy, man. He brings so much passion. He cares so much about it that you can't help but feed off of that. And even though all the turbulence of the scenes that we're doing, it's just that energy and that passion that's really driving everything. And also he's very creatively open if things aren't feeling right or we need change. Little super things flexible, which really makes all the actors more comfortable together, I think. Here's what Isabella Ferrer said. They asked, what's the most rewarding thing of being a part of It Ends With Us? And here's what she said about Justin. Justin and all the actors I've worked with have been so open and welcoming. I've never felt belittled in any sort of way. I think it's just being able to come into set and feeling seen and heard and feeling immediately comfortable and being able to just go in to do what I do and not having anxieties or worries about how I might be. Or I just feel very accepted, I think. Also says, okay, so working with Justin. Oh my God, so good. So good. He's just so generous with advice and just overall in the entire process of letting me observe and really take everything in. He's taken really good care of. I mean, everything it seems. And I think there's always going on in productions. And I think he has a really good method of just being able to keep things positive and find ways of uplifting and then going. And then there's also this look at that. I feel like that as an actor who's first starting when you're trying to get used to everything, it's really important to have someone go, that's really good. Okay, now let's look at this. And there's no patronizing. There's no, I don't feel I'm not heard. I always fucking go up to him and ask for anything. I mean, our first phone call after I got the job, it was a FaceTime. And the first thing he said to me was like, whenever you need me, call me. I immediately had his number. There was an immediate understanding that literally whatever, if I needed anything, I knew I could reach out to him. And that was immediately such a comforting feeling that I wasn't just diving to something and not knowing what was going to happen. Brandon Sklenar made a comment saying that it's been a really, really pleasant set to be on, and on comes from the top, Jamie Heath, our producer. He's such a lovely guy, and Justin is so warm. There's no tension. It's just a very open, safe environment, as you hope it will be given the subject matter of the film and the message that we're trying to get across. I'm grateful to him for that because it's been a really, really pleasant experience being on the set. Yeah. So, they're trying to show that it seems like the cast members had positive views of Justin Baldoni. Maybe it was until they started doing their promo stuff with Blake Lively about a year later that she possibly had maybe turned them against him. She probably shared her story about what happened between her and Justin from her perspective. And then they're like, oh shit, that's like really fucked up. Like, damn, we can't support this guy. Maybe that's why they unfollowed him on social media and all that stuff. And, boy, it's also possible that maybe they're just lying for the interview. But think about the content of what's coming out of their mouths for the interview. If you really didn't like someone, you can skirt around it, right? Just like how when I think one of the actresses was asked about Justin Baldoni and working with him, she totally skirted the answer and just like started answering something else. So if you really didn't want to say how good of a person it was, you would just skirt around and just give a different answer that obviously doesn't talk shit about the person that you hate. But anyways, I think we have more with Bella or Isabella as well, where Isabella sends a text message to Justin Baldoni, like, seems like out of her own volition. She's like, hey, just got my film developed when we were shooting. I want to say thank you so much for this incredible experience on the first film. I still can't shake the feeling of it because it was truly life-changing for me. You're such a wonderful, smart, sincere director. You created such a comfortable, safe space for me to feel like I could fully step up in this role. I couldn't have asked for a more welcoming environment. Now, Blake Lively in her complaint did mention how Justin Baldoni may have had creep vibes because when the young versions of Blake Lively and Brandon Sklenar were acting, there's a scene where it was like, I think a sex scene, like the first sex scene that happens between the two of them. Justin goes up to them after they cut and was like, oh my God, that was so hot. So I don't know if they shared that story with Blake Lively and it was like, oh yeah, maybe Justin is weird. I mean, like when we were shooting that one scene, he didn't come up to us and say that was hot. I guess that was kind of weird. And then so that's probably how she was able to use that as ammo in her complaint, maybe. Because how else would she know about it? Unless there was something else in the, maybe one of the crew members told her about that. I also want to note this. There's something that I passed by. So how was the relationship with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni during the break? Blake writes this message. I hope it went well this week. You happy with what you got? Such an important piece of the puzzle. Would you mind asking whoever sent that pic again? I was locked on my account and never got to see it. It's expired now. They can make it so it doesn't expire ideally. Would love to see that edit of the scene you have as well and anything else you want to share. Also, we all have strep again. Thought you'd appreciate that. Hope you're all well, XXB. Like, I don't know what happened. Something happened during this break where she was like, you know what? Fuck Justin. Fuck Justin. I'm not coming back to work. I ain't coming back to work until Justin agrees to all these demands that I have. I don't know. Like, something happened during the break. Now we're 2 weeks before Blake Lively sends those list of demands. 2 weeks before, she wants to have Justin fly out to show her the cuts. Here's the text messages. Lively's agent. Blake would like to see the cut of this week if possible. Hate to make him fly out, but if that's how he would like to do it, she gets it. I assume he's just going to intro it. Awkward otherwise. We'll rate Jamie too. Let me know how best to coordinate. Jamie. Hey, redacted. The end of the U text says, well, rate Jamie too, but I'm here. Did you mean someone else? Lively's agent. Redacted. She suggested he would be down to do it this week, so I asked Blake if that would work. Jamie, let me check on that. Not sure what redacted is referring to. Maybe she had a convo that I wasn't a part of. Let me look into what's possible. Lively's agent. Thanks. Jamie. Hey, Justin is very much looking forward to sharing the rough cut with Blake in person. As mentioned, he is not nor will be sending any links as he still is in his director's cut. He's 4 weeks in and breaking until we have concluded shooting. He's not available to fly there as of now. The plan has been once we got to Jersey, prepping for a shoot, he would then take a segment of the day to take Blake to join him in a screening room where he can walk through her cut, as this has been the way that he's shown it to anyone. So much missing, and there are placeholders and requires his real-time input while viewing. So quite simply, the plan is once we arrive to Jersey, he will share. If we don't make it out through the strike, then once we deal with that, we can revisit and figure out a path to share. I'm sure you get it. So that was during October 17th. November 9, I think, is when, or is it November 11? Yeah, November 9 is when they get that email from Blake Lively's attorney saying, yeah, my client's not going to return to this unsafe work environment until you agree to these lists of non-negotiables. I wonder how things could have been different or maybe changed had had Justin Baldoni said yes and then flew out there to show Blake Lively the cuts. Would she have addressed it with him then informally? Or would she have been like, oh, okay, so, my relationship with this guy is fine. Would she have changed her mind? Like, is it like the absence of time that made her want to, I guess, like, hate Justin Baldoni? Because it seems like they probably hate him at this point. They probably hate him a lot. But I wonder if he had flew out there, would things have been differently? Or would it just be the same? Would he have gone in there, flew out, shown her the stuff? She would act like everything was A-okay. And then 2 weeks later, he'd be like, oh, okay, well, let's start work. Oh, actually, I'm not going to start working because I don't feel safe. I don't know. This just seems, I know it's only one-sided so far. I mean, sorry, it's not really one-sided so far because Blake Lively kind of put out her best argument out by putting in her complaint. And then we have the response from Justin Baldoni. But, I mean, I know we're getting a lot of information from Justin Baldoni. And then, we got to give Blake Lively a chance to respond. But Jesus, it makes her sound kind of fucking nuts. Nuts. Like the way that she's texting him during the break and it seems like things are fine. And, she's like, hey, can you fly out and show me the cuts, And then boom, bam. I'm not showing up on set because I have issues with you. I wonder if someone got into her head. Or maybe this is just how she operates. I don't know. We get an email with Justin Baldoni basically saying that he was going to wave the white flag and he was submitting. And then he was going to give Lively 98% of what she wants. Something that I kind of find a little bit even more disturbing about Blake Lively. So we get this email from Blake Lively to Justin Baldoni. And I guess you can say email may be a little bit more informal than a text message, but it sounds friendly. Is it a trap? Hey, I hope you and your family had a nice holiday. Would love to set the time for a meeting before we start production. We'll be back town January 4th. Does 3 p.m. work? We'll host in Tribeca. Happy to just have you. Not sure if Jamie will be on the set, but he's welcome. We can also have the whole team, redacted and redact if you prefer. Please let me know and all. It sounds like a really friendly message. She's like, oh my gosh, hey, I hope you and your family had a nice holiday. I would love, and then, be happy to host. Like, it just sounds like, okay, this seems like a very welcoming, inviting, warm invitation to her house. And then Justin Baldoni allegedly say that. And then Justin Baldoni says that he was met with nothing but Verbal assault from Ryan Reynolds. I wonder if Lively was also joining in, or Reynolds decided to just take over and Lively was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just let him steer the reins, I guess. Maybe they were just horribly jet lagged from London. So this is where Justin Baldoni says that Ryan Reynolds basically like verbally eviscerated him or berated him. And you know, if I was Justin Baldoni, I would be thinking the same thing too. I'm showing up with the crew, the crew members, and the intention of this meeting was to like, hey, let's kick it off for phase 2 of filming. So I think at this point, there are 2 possible narratives. There's one, Blake Lively truly feels that Justin Baldoni is a creep, and maybe he was a creep. Narrative number 2, Blake Lively was overreacting. I don't think that she's flat out lying because she's already complained to Sony. She's already done a verbal confrontation with them. And now we have another confrontation with Ryan Reynolds as well in the penthouse months later. And then we have the return to work sheet, whatever. And well, after that meeting, they continue shooting the film, awkwardly filming with her wife and doing makeout scenes with her after being berated from the husband. I don't know how the hell these actors do it. I don't know how. So anyways, the filming ends. And what's next? The editing part. But you know what? The drama gets worse. It continues. Blake Lively wants to be in the passenger seat and be in the editing room with Justin Baldoni. Justin's like, okay, I'll give you 3 days. Yeah, 3 days, you know, because Blake Lively apparently told Sony that she couldn't promise to promote the film if she didn't get it her way. So Justin writes this nice long text message, and then Blake Lively again saying, I'll be invaluable to you. Like, I don't know, again, her talking about how valuable she is to the process of everything with this goddamn movie. Just boasting herself over and over again. I'm so sorry. Am I just like over this whole thing? A little bit, just a tiny bit. Gosh, people just like boast about themselves. Okay, anyway, so that happens. They give her 3 days of editing. And then I think at that point, Blake was like, okay, well, she watched the movie that Justin edited, and I don't think she was happy with it. Why? Well, look at this group chat. So Justin sends her the film to watch. Blake Lively says, I'm starting the film now. We'll join when I finish. See you soon. Justin Baldoni, enjoy. Just a heads up, music works great in parts and neat works in others. We are onboarding a new music supervisor and editor today. Exciting stuff. Enjoy. You're fantastic in it. Redacted. I just finished watching the cut. So happy. You all are really, really amazing. The film, I felt so much. Super emotional, complex in a great way. It's extremely watchable and engaging. Justin Baldoni liked it. Hours later, does Blake Lively write the same message? No, Blake Lively just simply writes, not going to join today. Let me know your timing for tomorrow. Justin says, okay, 10 a.m. And I'm assuming by that point she was already done with the movie. And since she didn't praise it, I don't know, maybe she had texted him directly and maybe it's just not in here. But based on this group chat, it seems like she wasn't happy at all and she wasn't going to praise the movie. The next day, she does show up in the editing bay and she has about 7 pages of notes, and they are, you know, even though they don't agree with all of them, they are doing their best to implement some of them, as they say. Now, the next day, she doesn't show up, and they're like, okay, well, she's not showing up. All right, cool. However, Blake Lively asked to go into the editing bay alone this time. No Justin Baldoni. And this is where I think we get threat number 2. Yeah, I think we get threat number 2, where she says, I'm not going to promote the film if I don't have my creative say in this. So they give her 10 days. And then when those 10 days were up, she's like, well, actually, you know what? I want more time to edit. This time, I want to bring my own personal editor. And they're saying that this is the editor that she works with, who worked on the film Deadpool. And actually, you know what? I do have like parts of her interviews where she talks about this editor that she's like in love with. We'll probably do maybe like a different video on that one. So it is probably the Deadpool editor, and then the same one that worked on the Taylor Swift one with her, where she said she edited the music video. Because, you know, she's always like boasting about everything that she does, you know, which I guess, you know, kudos to her. Kudos to her. Maybe it's because I'm covering this for so long and I've been watching like a lot of her interviews that it does get a little annoying. Now remember, Colleen Hoover also purportedly unfollowed Justin Baldoni on social media as well, but it seems like months prior, seems like her relationship with Justin Baldoni was fine, because when she's doing this interview right here, I'll have the whole footage for you guys in a different video, but she's got her arms linked around Justin Baldoni's arm, and it feels like doing work, professional work with someone that you don't like, you don't have to link your arms around him. You know, that's an extra unnecessary step. So I think at this point, they have a good relationship. Again, this is before she does the promo stuff with Blake Lively. And I think weeks after this is when Blake Lively is going to threaten that if they don't go with her trailer or her edit or something like that, that Colleen Hoover wouldn't be on board as well. So I think within the next couple of weeks, Blake Lively somehow gets to Colleen Hoover, I think. Speculation. Blake Lively has her cut, and then she shows it to her friends and family event, and then they do the audience test score where Justin Baldoni, their target demographic was like females under 35, where Justin Baldoni scored better. We'll take a look at that score. However, I want to read this part right here. May 3rd, 2024. So, what would happen if they didn't go with Justin Baldoni's cut? Baldoni's alleging that Lively further asserted that Colleen Hoover would refuse to promote the film unless Lively's cut was released. Now, I wonder if that's like a lie that Blake Lively made up, or did she indeed get to Colleen Hoover and basically told him or her that Justin Baldoni's a piece of shit? And by the way, do you like my cut? My cut's better, right? My cut's good, right? You like my cut? Okay, good. I'm going to tell him that you're not going to promote the movie unless you like my cut. Unless it's my cut that's going out there. Book Bonanza. So Justin Baldoni was supposed to be going to Book Bonanza with Colleen Hoover, and I don't know who, what, but like somebody was like, you know what? Fuck Justin. Justin's not going to be attending. We're going to have Blake attend instead. Not only that, but then Blake Lively apparently added the other cast members to go as well. So Justin, definitely getting the FOMO vibes, man. Definitely. By this point, because they're going with Blake Lively's cut, Blake Lively asked the Sony people to remove a film by credit on the poster so that only Lively's name would appear above the title. Despite having already approved the poster for the film, it was understood by Wayfair that Lively would not approve the new version in which Baldoni's appeared next to hers, thus requesting that Baldoni's name be removed. Sony oblige, and my God, reading these emails with Sony pisses me off. It's like, hey, hope you're doing well. Oh my God, we're doing so good over here. Blake is doing such a good job with the promo. By the way, do you mind if we remove Justin's name? That's cool with you, right? Okay, cool. Bye. I don't know. That's like the sentiment that I got from reading these damn emails. Now, at this point, Blake Lively and Maximum Effort, which is her husband Ryan Reynolds' production company, they take over the marketing campaign for the It Ends With Us. And initially, it seems like Justin Baldoni's team didn't know what Maximum Effort was. They're like, hey, we hear that like they're working on doing promo stuff. Like, are they going to include Justin? What's going on? Or are they just like doing their own thing? What's happening here? Because we can't just have these like randos working on the promo stuff and not include Justin. People are going to be like, what's going on with Justin? Why is he being ousted like this? And well, it seems like Sony was just like, yeah, they're running the show. Sorry, not including Justin on it. Oh, by the way, I was wondering why his company was called Maximum Effort. I rewatched Deadpool, like all of them recently, and then I didn't realize, but Deadpool says Maximum Effort throughout the movie. So I don't know if you guys care about that. I just wanted to share that with you. And listen, I know some of you guys are like, oh, why are you watching Deadpool? Don't support them. Well, here's the thing, okay? I watched Deadpool because I wanted to see the whole Nice Pool thing to see it was really based on Justin Baldoni. And yes, I truly do believe it is based on Justin Baldoni. But then I was like, okay, well, what's the origin of Deadpool again? Like, how did he become to look like this again? I forgot. So, like, that's how I usually get sucked into movies. Like, especially the whole Marvel thing. It's like, they make it so easy for you to get sucked into one movie, into another movie, into another movie. Now I'm like watching like the X-Men series because I was like, what the fuck is going on? Okay, sorry. Anyways, let's go back to this. Now we're at the point where Blake wants producer credit. They give it to her. However, they're like, we're not giving her the PGA mark. But, you know, it seems like Blake was saying how she would refuse to have her likeness and her face show in the movies and blah, blah, blah. And Sony's like, that could be a huge issue. So Jamie Heath decides to reach out to Blake directly. And I'm going to read the entire text message because I do think it's pretty interesting. Jamie Heath writes, hi, Blake. I hope you're well. I wanted to write a note acknowledging the challenging times we all found ourselves in and how it has undoubtedly affected many decisions. One being the requested letter to the PGA. In the midst of it all, so many conversations have been had with third parties. I do understand why. However, I believe it could be helpful if you and I had a direct conversation effort to find a path through this. We can have Redacted and maybe Ryan and whoever you'd like to join as well. Hopefully this can be seen as an opportunity to simply consult and see if it could lead to a potential change of thought. Honestly, Blake, I'm reaching out with a spirit of optimism. Please let me know if you're open to having a Zoom today, ? Thank you, Jamie. Blake writes back, hey, Jamie, feel free to send through anything you'd like to say here. I hope you're well, Blake. I feel like it's such a dead message. Oh my gosh. And so Jamie also caves in. Okay. Jamie's like, oh, this is what Jamie writes. Thank you for your response, Blake. I respect your decision not to have a call. No problem at all. To be fully transparent, it was indeed a tough call to receive when asked to write a letter to the PGA. I do believe you can understand to some extent why that might be. No, I don't think she does. However, we do want to be fair-minded and just to all parties. The truth is you are incredible in the movie. Your performance is spectacular. I hope you get the glory you deserve for it. And then you are certainly added a great deal to the movie beyond the acting role itself. There's no denying that. With that said, I've consulted further with Justin. As a result, he and I both have agreed to write the letter. I thought he was going to write, with that said, I consulted further with Justin and we have both agreed that we don't think you deserve it. But then no, he took the other turn and was like, yeah, we'll just write it for you. Okay, well, let me know who we should send it to. Like, it seems like he was really going to stand his ground, try to have a discussion with her. And she's like, no. And he's like, okay, well, fine. We'll just give it to you. And then, of course, she replies back. And she's like, thank you, Jamie. I appreciate you both acknowledging the work. You can send the letters to me here or via email. And I'll send along to the people I'm speaking with the PGA. I'll let them know that your letters are incoming. Oh, gosh. I'm really trying hard to see her perspective, you know, through all the shit that has been presented to us by Justin Baldoni's team. And it's tough. It's tough. It is tough. And here's my thoughts on what her perspective could possibly be, giving her the full benefit of the doubt. So let's say I'm Blake Lively. I truly believe that Justin Baldoni and his team are creeps, and I feel like I've been wronged by them. However, I was pushing through. Initially, she probably felt like Justin Baldoni was like a good collaborator, someone who was going to give her a safe and open environment. But instead, she was met with creepiness and she was so disappointed. Not only that, she got COVID, she got sick, and then a bunch of other bullshit, whatever. So then she does a whole like the safe to return production thing. So because she wasn't going to continue with the film. And in order to feel safe filming with Justin Baldoni again, he has to agree to all these terms, blah, blah, whatever. And then once the phasing 2 of filming was done, then she's like, okay, well, let's see what kind of director Justin Baldoni is. Let's see his version of the movie. When she was giving his version of the movie, she was very unimpressed, perhaps. And she was like, God damn, well, not only was he a creep and blah, 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 a disappointment, well, he's a shitty director. Now I have to take over and now I have to do everything for this guy. Like, what a disappointment. I don't know. I'm like really trying hard to go through what she may have been going through and what may have led to all this from her, like all the actions of events. And that's why she thinks she deserves the producer mark, the PGA mark, because she's like, well, I took over. I had to do everything because you sucked at your job. Maybe that's what happened. And then that's why she kicked him out from the marketing, the promo stuff, got the team members to, or the cast members to turn on him because she truly believed that this guy was a creep, weirdo, whatever it is. And that's why she took over the film. And then that's why, you know, she didn't let Justin do his own marketing or be in the marketing stuff because she wanted the world to know that, hey, I'm not going to say it explicitly, you know, but I will implicitly imply that something's up with this guy here. You know, I don't like this guy. Like, he ain't cool with us. Like when we deal with stuff like this or like court cases or like we try to get into like other people's minds, I try to see, okay, let's give them benefit of the doubt. What could be going on in their fucking heads? Because why did it go the way it did? Or, you know, it is possible that she could just be a piece of shit and she's a bully and she's sensitive or she's a liar, right? But I always try to give people a benefit of the doubt to see what is going on with their mind. What is going on in their mind? Now, does that mean it's the truth? No. We'll have to see. We'll have to see until more shit comes out. So we'll have to see. But so far, my sympathy, a lot of it's with Justin Baldoni. And, you know, I have an open mind to see what Blake Lively is going to come out with and rebut Justin Baldoni's rebuttal. We'll have to see. But so far, she looks so bad in the PR stuff. Like, she needs to fire her PR team. I'm sorry, fire the PR team and maybe hire another attorney, like maybe like a Brian Friedman or something. Because Brian Friedman is doing work, okay? Brian Friedman is doing work in the public media. But anyways, what are your guys' theory? Like, what do you guys think generally was going on Blake Lively's mind? Or do you guys truly just believe that she's like an asshole? To this, Justin Baldoni claims that he was supposed to have a shoot where they were going to do a day in life piece. However, he claims that when Blake Lively found out about this, she was incensed and that she demanded Sony to intervene and stop the interview from happening. Well, you know what? Who else would it be? If it isn't Ryan, if it isn't Blake Lively, who else would stop Sony and tell him that he can't film this marketing piece? It would make sense that it was him or it was them. Now, a couple days afterwards, this is where we're starting to see more offensive side happening from Team Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Apparently, Wayfair is informed that Reynolds contacted Baldoni's personal agent at WME. During this call, Baldoni escalates his attacks on Baldoni's character, calling him a deranged predator. Baldoni agent relays to Wayfair he did his best to reason with Reynolds and challenge the absurd claims, but Reynolds is unwilling to consider any counter-narrative. Reynolds reiterated that Baldoni should not attend the premiere on August 6th, stating no one wants him there. When Baldoni's agent shares his convo with Baldoni and Heath, both are disturbed by Reynolds' continued efforts to damage Baldoni's reputation within the agency. I wonder if I don't know. Is it because my mind is primed now? Because people are coming out with the accusations that it's Ryan Reynolds who's pulling all the strings behind the scenes? Maybe. Or maybe she's the one who's complaining to Ryan Reynolds and he's just acting on his wife's behest, you know? Well, you know, they do let him do some marketing stuff because he was able to appear on the It Ends With Us marketing thing at Century City Mall in LA. However, he's by himself. No one is there with him. It's just him. July 22nd, everyone else, all the rest of the cast members, they attend a Deadpool premiere. And I think all the cast members are all like hanging out with each other, getting dinner together, celebrating Brandon Sklenar's birthday. Again, Justin Baldoni probably getting the FOMO right now. You know, he's being left out. He's being ostracized. Justin Baldoni starts getting a little bit worried about what's going on and he decides to hire crisis PR. I wouldn't blame him. Now fans are starting to realize, where the fuck is Justin Baldoni? Ain't he the director and ain't he one of the leads? Why is he not in any of the promo stuff? We got how come Rao's character isn't any of the promo stuff? I've been wondering the same thing too, since the actor is also the director. From the trailer, it looks great. I have to be honest, my heart bleeds for the film cast we wanted and setting of their ages. A moment for Blake's hair, heart face. And people are like, what is going on with Justin? Why is he not in any of this? Here are some more Instagram posts. Why Justin Baldoni not in the promos they've been doing there and don't follow on Instagram? He's a director and a main character. It makes no sense. They shared a video with Justin yesterday, but deleted it right after. I don't care if they don't follow each other. I just want to see him promoting the movie too. I hope he's okay after being in the something. Bet Reed Morano is to blame. Where's the one with Justin? Oh my God, we have to wait. That is a trick. I wonder if they included this message. Like, who is Reed Morano? I wonder if Justin Baldoni team is trying to leave out an Easter egg for us. But I did look up Reed Morano. I think they are like a director or a producer or something. Oh my God, we have to wait. Is that the trick? Wait, for what? Really? I'm slow. Are they playing with us? They shared a video of Justin yesterday and then deleted it from all their socials. This is where Justin Baldoni sends that damn text message where he sends a screenshot of the Hailey Bieber history of bullying and then he writes to his PR people, this is what we would need. Now, when I first initially saw this, I was like, oh yeah, this looks really bad. It looks like they purposely tried to make Blake Lively look like a bully and maybe artificially inflated that story or something. But now that we are getting Justin Baldoni's perspective and the timeline, it makes sense why Justin Baldoni would share an article like this, because he probably did truly feel that he was being bullied by Blake Lively. Also, the cast members, they continue doing the promo stuff for the film. Guess who's not there? Bing, bing, Justin Baldoni. Then we have the premiere that happens, and again, we have this picture of Justin Baldoni and his family being pushed into the basement while Blake Lively and her family and her friends were on the red carpet and also the pink carpet, I guess, in this case, and also the cast members. All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've observed, it seems like Justin Baldoni, since he was not part of the promo stuff, there's a lot of speculations happening, and then people were speculating what was going on. It seems like it was Blake Lively's team who potentially started putting out stories that were negative about Justin Baldoni in response to him not being part of the promo stuff. Because I remember there were articles about how everyone had unfollowed Justin Baldoni on social media and how Justin Baldoni was difficult to work with and how he was dismissive, had a dismissive attitude, and that he was dismissive towards Blake Lively's input. And then it evolved to like borderline, him being borderline abusive on the set and making the other female cast members uncomfortable. Also that he was unprofessional, he was apologetic, chauvinistic, and that he actually became the character, the abusive character, Ryle. And then we heard about the fat shaming part, and then the kissing for too long, and then potential HR complaints that may have been around. So maybe a lot of the other stuff, like him being borderline abusive, chauvinistic, dismissive, and all that, maybe those are just speculations from the news outlets, and they decided to publish it anyways. Maybe it wasn't until because it seems like the fat shame and the kissing for too long, those were the real true stuff that Blake Lively had alleged on set. So maybe maybe her and her team didn't put out like stories previously until we got to the fake fat shaming and the kissing for too long. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of stuff that happened. I mean, and maybe, Blake Lively's team can prove us wrong on this, but it seems like they purposely didn't have him in the promo stuff. People speculated, and then they were the ones that put out the story to make sure that Blake Lively looks good. I don't really see a lot of the offensive from Justin Baldoni and his team, but I guess they're trying to allege that, you know, anything that happened after like August 10 was all like Justin Baldoni, I guess. But yeah, it seems like a lot of it was just Blake Lively, who was, you know, her team putting out stories just to get ahead of it and make Justin Baldoni look bad. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I could be wrong about the timelines and stuff, but I'll probably take a look into it as we're still covering the story. Now I want to get to the statement. The statement that apparently Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had prepared. I mean, probably their team, but it was prepared by them, and they wanted Wayfair and Justin Baldoni to take responsibility for all the negative backlash that Blake Lively was getting. I'm sure that Blake Lively truly believes that people weren't naturally hating on her, that it wasn't organic, that it was all done from behind the scenes from Justin and his PR team. And they're like, well, the reason why we didn't have you in part of the movies is because of the sexual harassment stuff. You know, we ousted you for a reason, or you're a bad director. That's why I didn't go with your cut. But how dare you get people to turn on me? And so this statement is very interesting. But, you know, now that we have two different possible major perspectives where it's like, well, maybe you guys really just fucked Justin Baldoni over, and then now you want him to take responsibility for the negativity that you're getting, and you're accusing him of being the one who fabricated it when, you know, it could have just been an organic reaction to a lot of the stuff that you were doing. So here's the statement. August 12th, 2024. So this is like 2 days after like the major hate that was like coming in, okay? Statement prepared by Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds on behalf of Baldoni, Heath, and Wayfair. Like, I want to see the entire date, timestamp. Is this an email? Like, I want to see the entire thing. Why are we just getting this little tiny thing? I want the whole thing. It ends with a troubled production, which we take full accountability for. We are very sorry to everyone who caused upset to privately and publicly. Blake Lively, Colleen Hoover, the entire cast and crew led with professionalism every step of the way. Any negativity aimed at them is ours to own. We mutually agreed that the cast would not be promoting the film separately and understood why. We have always said we're not perfect, and even if unintentionally make mistakes, we will always own them. We hold ourselves accountable. It's not anyone's job but ours, and that's a part of being man enough. I feel like that's a Ryan Reynolds thing. I don't know, because I think Ryan Reynolds is really good at like throwing in like these like personal jokes in there. And I'm pretty sure they made fun of, you know, Baldoni for the whole man enough thing, and then they probably think that he's a phony and he's, you know, behind the scenes he doesn't really preach what he doesn't practice what he preaches. And so they're trying to throw this whole man enough thing because that's part of Justin Baldoni's, like, I think, is that the name of his podcast, I think? Or is that just a phrase that he says a lot? So that to me is definitely seen as a jab to Justin Baldoni, and writing man enough in quotations. Oh, Lordy. We will practice what we preach. We are learning and growing from the experience, and we thank everyone for their patience as we find a better way to proceed. We're very proud of the film and the welcome arms that it's received. Part of our work is to have uncomfortable conversations for public growth. The film is doing that on screen, and we're doing that off screen. Thank you for the cast, crew, and public for the opportunity to be imperfect and to be given the space to learn and grow with humanity and dedication. So here are the text messages behind the scenes. I think this is interesting, between Jennifer Abel and Melissa Nathan. Jen Abel says, Blake and Ryan won Justin put out a statement. This is unbelievable. Melissa, call if you can. Career killing for them and Wayfair. No, have to fight it. At what point do you fight? It's now. Lawyer up now. So that signals to me that they haven't really been fighting aggressively. So I think they're trying to say the accusation is that they have been fighting behind the scenes to tarnish and sabotage Blake Lively's name. But, you know, when I'm reading these text messages, and I know I'm not going over in this video, watch my full live stream that we did. When I'm going through the text messages in the second part of the timeline, honestly, once you zoom out and get more context, a lot of the messages between the PR people, it sounds so bad when we just had one-liners with descriptors. When we have the full context of it, it sounds way less bad, in my opinion. But I did mention this in my live stream that maybe when you take one chunk, it looks really bad. You zoom out, it doesn't look as bad. Then you get the entire fucking thing. You're like, oh shit, it actually does look really bad. But, you know, from what we're getting so far, the good multiple screenshot, the chunks, the full context of it, it doesn't look as bad. It seems like the PR team were always just waiting for the defense. They were waiting for the other team to make a move. And if they don't make a move, then they're just going to chill and not do anything. So I don't know if they were still like doing behind the scenes, like astroturfing and then botting and all that stuff. But from the messages that we're seeing, it seems like they were not doing that. But again, these are hand-picked, curated messages. So they could be misrepresentative, but I think they did a good job at showing that they weren't doing anything too crazy behind the scenes. She writes, "This is so crazy. Honestly, I've never had anything like this. Can he please hire a lawyer? He needs to. He has one, but he needs a litigator. Get BF. He's waiting and will take on WME." So I think BF is Brian Friedman, who is the attorney right now that's representing all of them. And then also says, "Well, take on WME." That's the agency. Now, the agency has since fired Justin Baldoni since the New York Times article and the Blake Lively complaint came out. I wasn't going to address this, but you know what, since it's here, I'll just talk about it briefly. So Blake Lively was getting a lot of backlash with how the movie was being promoted. And, you know, honestly, I thought the promotion stuff was like out of her control. I thought it was like all Sony that was telling her how to do it. You know, Sony was like, hey, don't talk about this. Don't do that. Don't do whatever. Honestly, then we find out that Blake Lively was kind of in charge of marketing. And then it was hired by... they hired Maximum Effort, Ryan Reynolds, and so they were in charge of how they were marketing the movie to everyone. And if you go through the Instagram, you know, you see the baking the cookies thing, you see the Pictionary thing, you see the girls having a talk about stuff and like not even mention DV at all. Like, anyways, so Blake Lively puts this Instagram story, and I don't know if she did more to address and really take on this topic seriously, but if this is all that she did, after all the backlash, this to me was insanely fucking lazy. Just posting a story on Instagram that lasts 24 hours. I don't know, maybe she also tweeted it as well. Maybe she also put it on her Facebook page. I don't fucking know. But just doing this, and then here's like the link. I don't know, that seems so lazy to me. I don't know if she, like I said, I don't know if she did more. Maybe she did do more. Now, what I thought was really... really interesting was a couple weeks afterwards, I think like a week or two afterwards, Sony exec comes out and says like, oh, Blake Lively is really pushing the narrative on, oh, here it is, like for domestic violence or something. Where is it? Because I was like, oh my gosh, this seems so, it seems like it was forced. Like someone reached out to Sony, was like, hey, you need to go bail our girl out, okay? Help her out a little bit. She's struggling over there. Trying to see if I could find the article. Anyways, essentially, like I said, basically saying, anyways, essentially the sentiment that Blake Lively was doing so much to push a narrative, essentially giving the sentiment that Blake Lively was doing so much to really get DV out there. And essentially the sentiment was that Blake Lively was doing so much to get DV out there. But in the article, they don't even list what she did at all that helped domestic violence. Is it just because she said yes and being in this movie? That's it? Like that's how she helped get the word out on domestic violence? I wish I could find somewhere in here. What the fuck is it? But yeah, after that, it goes quiet for a little bit. You know, people were starting to forget. Now, people still had a lingering distaste for Blake Lively, but I think she could have recovered. You know, I think she could have been fine. Like, dude, no, actually, she was pretty ruined, though. I don't know. In a couple of years, people will forget, okay? Just have to wait a couple of years. Got to be patient with that. But then, boom, all of a sudden in December, we have the lawsuit that was dropped. And all this is just even more fiery. It is so much more fiery. I can't imagine being in my late 30s and having to deal with this type of drama. This is like so much stress that I just would not want to be dealing with, quite honestly, you know? All right, I don't know where it is. Anyways, guys, that's about it for today. I hope this recap is a lot shorter, which it should be, because if you guys want to watch the full stream should be about like 6 or 7 hours long. But today is just a recap of all the stuff that's happened so far. I just got back from Italy, so I'm trying to catch up on everything that happened, because oh my god, so much happened while I was gone. And it's been great to be back in this chair, you know, streaming, sitting here with you guys. And yeah, I really miss you guys, like I said. And no more jet lag, which is good. No more jet lag. Like, my sleep schedule was good. My mind was not having it, okay? I was just spacing out a lot. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a good one. Truly, let me know what you guys think about what the fuck it is that Blake Lively was thinking. Do you think that she personally thought that she was, like, all the accusations that she made against Justin Baldoni, do you believe that she truly thought they were true because of all the actions that happened afterwards? Or do you think that she just lied and she just wanted to take over the movie? Or maybe a combination of both. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because this is perplexing. And you know what? Like I keep mentioning, she need to come out with her own website, okay? She need to fire her PR team. She need to get a new team to come redo the image and really duke it out in the public court of opinion, because that's how that's how they started with the complaint and the New York Times. You know, if you want to put things out in public, you better explain yourself, because you know people are going to start putting out the receipts. And so far, a lot of people, and a lot, it's an understatement, a lot of people are absolutely very, very sympathetic towards Justin Baldoni at this point. All right, guys. See ya. Bye.